Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. My name is Beta and this is The Simple Budget. Here on my channel, I show you how my family is using the zero-based budgeting method in order to get out of debt and simplify our financial life. If that sounds like content that you're interested in, I would love it if you would hit the subscribe button and join our little crew here. And with that being said, let's get into today's video. All right, so welcome back to another weekly check-in. I'm gonna ask that you forgive this like crazy skin on my hand here. I had an if you give a mouse a cookie moment. If you guys don't know what children's book that is, I highly recommend that you read it to yourself for your own enjoyment, but also to your kids. It's so cute. Anyway, I was outside earlier this morning and just like looking at my front garden, and I was like, oh, I'm just gonna pull these weeds. And then it became like 30 minutes of me weeding out my front garden, and my hands got like really dirty, obviously, because I wasn't planning on doing that. And so I didn't have my gardening gloves on, and I got so dirty and I was like scrubbing my hands. So that's what this is. Sorry, I hope it doesn't bother you. Also, for those of you who may not have heard me mention it before, the loss of pigment in my skin here is a condition that I have that's called vitiligo. It's going to become more and more noticeable as the summer meets us, because I am in the sun a lot. And so the noticeable difference between my tan and the lack of pigment in my skin gets, more obvious. So anyway, not that you asked, but I figured if you missed my explanation a few weeks ago, I don't even remember what video it was that I explained that I have vitiligo, but that's what that is, in case you were wondering. Anyway, today is a weekly check-in, so I'm gonna zoom you guys in and we will get stuck into it. All right, as always, I slant my paper because I am a paper slanter. That's just how I write. I don't know how you guys do it, but I don't know how to not slant my paper when I'm writing. So let's just go ahead. We are still in the lovely month of May. And actually, let me take a sip first because I'm a little thirsty. In my glass is Topo Chico and lime, in case you were curious. Topo Chico is my favorite sparkly mineral water of life. I used to be a Pellegrino girl, and then I moved to Texas and had Topo Chico. Changed my life, have not looked back. Not that you asked, but in case you were curious. Okay, so let's just go ahead and just brief everybody in case you're new. This weekly check-in is for me to track non-cash purchases that I have made over the last week, so that if we cash pool for those purchases, we can return that money to the bank so that we do not have a deficit. This is where having an account buffer comes in handy. If you cash pool all of your paycheck and you cash stuff everything, a lot of folks will set up what they call a buffer of anywhere from $250 to $1,000 to cover purchases like this that are non-cash, so that you don't overdraft your account. My husband and I do not cash pool everything. We cash pool just for kind of like sinking funds, and our fixed expenses and bills stay in the account. And so they serve as our buffer because our bills and fixed expenses kind of come out incrementally throughout the month. So we can use that money that's in there as a buffer to cover the minimal spending that we do that is not cash spending. So with that explanation out of the way, let's go ahead and get into our first purchase. And if you guessed from Target, you win. I don't know what you win, but you were right. So the first purchase was from Target, and it has multiple categories. So I crossed this off, and then I just put the total amount here. $24.75 was the total amount. And again, just to offer like a brief little explanation for anybody who's new, I show you on this expense tracker what I would be doing even if I wasn't on YouTube. And so the reason why I cross out this category is because this purchase from Target actually contains multiple categories. So I don't put that here, but I do put the total amount because it helps me reconcile with my bank account, because I'm not going to see each individual purchase. I'm just going to see the total amount. So that way I'll know that I've tracked this expense. But then underneath of it, I put the categories so that I know what to cash pool from. So it came from 3 different categories. So we have gifts, household, and our Target line item, which is the only one that we do not have to return to the bank because the Target money stays in the bank. So it was $7.59 from gifts. It was $9.39 from household, and $7.77 from Target, which is Target groceries that we purchase that we earmark money for. So I'm just going to put an asterisk over here next to the gift and the household purchases so that I know that I have to cash pool for this when we get to that portion of the weekly check-in. Next up was also a debit purchase, and let's see, $5.14, and it was from the post office. Post office. Wow, English is hard, guys. Okay. Post office, and this is actually coming from my husband's envelope. It's a long, convoluted story. He had to return the wedding ring that he purchased because it was too big. So he had to return it, and he had to pay for shipping. And he also has to pay for the shipping for the product to come back out here. So this ring that was like a $35 purchase is quickly becoming much more expensive, but it's fine. It's fine. What was it? Oh, $6.89. And then also on the 14th, this one was from Etsy. This was the cost of the return shipping for his wedding band. So that's $7.04. And actually, so this one I'm going to be cash pooling $7 because typically we round up when there's change, but this one I'm also only going to be pooling $7 because for 4 cents, we have a virtual coin jar that this money will come from, and we're not worried about that purchase or that 4 cents. So this will also be $7 when I cash pool it. Let's see, also a debit purchase. And actually this one I could have done cash because this was from Kroger, and I usually bring cash with me for grocery purchases, but there's a couple of reasons why we did it this way. One, I actually get points for my Kroger purchases through my debit card in my Drop app. And this is not one that I talk about often. Like if you watch my cash stuffing videos, I mention Receipt Hog and Fetch an awful lot, and I never talk about Drop. Drop is a little more difficult, I think, to accrue points in, but I still am able to do it. Like they'll give you, like if you link your debit card to the app and you make purchases, they track that, and then you get points depending on how many, you'll get 5 points per dollar you spend or whatever. And so, like I said, it's a little bit harder to accrue points in this one, but I still use it. And so that's why sometimes I will use my debit card at Kroger, because Kroger is one of these, I think it's like 3 points for every dollar you spend. So I will accrue points in a cashback app, and I'll do any means necessary in order to achieve that. So that was one of the reasons why we did it. But then also the other reason why we did it was because we didn't have grocery rollover, but we had Target grocery money rollover. So we just swept that money in. And because our Target money stays in the bank, we used our debit card because we had overage in Target. And so we just kind of reallocated that money. So technically, even though this was a grocery purchase, it's coming from our Target category. And that's the fun thing about budgeting and stuff like this is there's so much wiggle room. Like I mean, our target category and our grocery category is all groceries. So it all is essentially for the same purpose. And so we don't get hung up on if we have to pull grocery money for Target or Target money for grocery. It's all the same thing. And so that's why we did this. And so this purchase was $15.47, but I don't have to pay. Oh, I didn't put an asterisk next to these. I don't have to pay this back to the bank because the Target money stays in the bank. So I hope this is not confusing for those of you who may be new, but I do go into much more in-depth explanations in some of my other weekly check-ins. In fact, my last weekly check-in, I went into a little bit more detail. So I'll go ahead and link that video for you guys so that you can watch it, so that you can kind of get a little bit more of an explanation for kind of how this process works. But anyway, we are moving on. So next up, oh my gosh, guys, this is a story. So I think it was we'll just say the 15th. I'm just going to write coffee because I don't want to put the coffee shop, but this here, I'm just going to 3069. This one I'm also not going to be paying back to the bank today. And the reason why is part of the story. So the long and short of it is, I've mentioned before here that I work at a museum, and we had an elderly woman who, actually she wasn't even that elderly, who had a massive bathroom accident in our restrooms at the museum, and I had to clean it up. Now, I have since taken the position that should this happen in future, I will be offering up our cleaning products to whomever is with that individual, and they can clean it up because as far as I'm concerned, unless you are in the medical field, you are not expecting that you're going to have to clean up adult human excrement from a restroom. And so I will not be doing that again, but suffice it to say, this was not a particularly fun activity. And so I took a very long walk after to our local coffee shop, and actually the whole 3069 was not just for me, it was for myself and for my coworkers. And I'm just going to cross this out because my husband and I did some finagling within our budget to accommodate this, because this was a completely unplanned for purchase. But I mean, you know, after you clean up adult poo from a restroom, you kind of have earned a little bit of an unbudgeted, unplanned for coffee stop. And I picked myself up a kombucha, actually, and not a coffee, because I was like, let me get some ginger into my body so that I do not have an upset tummy. And I ate a lovely croissant and I went about my day. So I am including this purchase in here. I'm not taking any money back to the bank for this one, but I'm including this purchase in here because it happened, and I like to be accountable to you guys so that you can kind of see what our expenses look like on a weekly basis. The whole point of this is to like be forthcoming and all of that. And so we did off camera do all kinds of finagling in order to make this work inside of our budget, but we did it. Nothing went on a credit card or anything like that, but your girl deserved it. I mean, it was not a pleasant experience, to say the very, very least. Anyway, live and learn. I will no longer be doing that. And we're gonna move right on to the next purchase here. Is what is happening. So this is actually our last one for the day. This was on the 16th, and it was an Amazon purchase, and it's coming from toiletries. Boy, today is like a story time day, isn't it? So it was $37.89, and I am gonna have to pay this back. I don't know if you ladies have ever heard of an epilator. But that is what I use for my hair removal needs. You're welcome. I'm so sorry for the gents who are on my channel, because I know that there are like probably 3 of you. Anyway, Instead of razors and shaving, I use an epilator. An epilator looks like an electric razor, but it pulls your hair out from the root instead of you shaving. This is like one of my beauty discoveries that I am just beside myself with. Like, I love this thing. I swear by it. It thins your hair out. You have less of it. Obviously, like, after a day of epilating, the hair loss or the hair regrowth takes so much longer because it has to grow completely from the root again. And then eventually you do tire your roots out enough to the point that some of the hair just doesn't grow back. I've been using an epilator since, probably like 2016. And so it is such a low maintenance way of, and inexpensive. Like, an epilator is kind of an expensive tool. I will leave it linked in my description box so you can see which one I use, but it's like $170. But think about how much you spend on razors, or think about how much you would spend on waxing or laser hair removal or something like that. This is much more economical. And while it is initially kind of painful, you eventually just get used to it. Like, now I will just open up YouTube and like watch some videos and stuff while I'm epilating my legs or whatever. Because it's that painless to me at this point. So anyway, all of that to tell you that the head of my epilator actually bit the bullet. So it was because I wasn't cleaning it out properly. So it's my own fault. But rather than replacing the entire epilator, which was totally fine, I just had to replace the head of it. So it cost me $38. And if I may, I love this thing. Like, seriously, swear by epilating. It takes about as long as shaving, but the hair stays gone for much longer. Anyway, I mean, I sing this thing's praises all the time. I absolutely love it. Anyway, let's go ahead and get zoomed back out, add up how much cash we're going to have at the end of this, and get to unstuffing. Oh my goodness, the search I just had to go through to find this thing, my calculator, because we all know I'm not adding this up just like in my brain. There's no way. Anyway, let's go ahead and get started here. So we have the $7.59 from gifts, so that's $8 because we round up, and the $9.39 from household, so that's $10. Then the it's a total of $14 we're pulling from my husband's spending. And then last up is the $38 from toiletries. So it was actually kind of like not a very spendy week. So we should have I can't read either, $70 total when we are all situated here. I didn't even need my cash tray, but okay. So first up, we're going to go into household and grab the $10 from here. And I'm actually gonna, I think I'm gonna do a 5 and 5 ones because just in case I need some change here. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I will put this back. Here, let me just put that there. And then because I know I need toiletries, I'm just going to stay right in here because it's high priority, and it's $38. I am hoping and praying we have 38, 10, 20, 30, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 38 from toiletries. Let me just double check that. 10, 25, 30, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, 38. Whoops, I didn't realize that quickly. I forgot I had 2 10s and 1s. My goodness, what do we have left in toiletries? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, well, look, it's there because it's there to be spent, honestly. As long as you're spending responsibly. Sometimes you're just gonna clean out your envelopes, you know? Okay, so let me just go ahead and put a check mark next to the ones that I grabbed from. So household and toiletries. And then we will go into our low priority sinking funds and grab the 14 from my husband's spending. Here we go. Oops. So, okay. So we're not going to have 14, but that's okay because we've got plenty of change here. So what did I say? 14. So I need to just grab 6 back for him. And he'll be watching this video. So I really gotta give him his change back. All right. So now on my husband's spending, he has 152 to 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 85, 90, 1 and 2. So 292 in his spending. And let me just go ahead and cross both of, or put a check mark next to both of these. And then last up is our gifts expense, and that's in our holiday sinking funds, and that's gonna be $8. And maybe, let's see, do I have 8? Oh, look at that. I have 8. 5, 6, 7, 8. Perfect. All right. Oh, and then remaining in gifts, we have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So $50 left in gifts. All right. So 5, 6, 7, 8. Perfect. All right. Now let's give it a count and make sure we have all $70. Oh, it's stuck. $70 here that we are supposed to have. Love a low spend week. I know it's not probably very exciting for you guys, but it's exciting for us. Okay, so we've got 20, 30, 45, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 70. So $70 going back to the bank for our spending that was not cash. And I have seen questions here and there from people about, like, is this difficult to stay on top of? And, I'm always worried that I'll forget and I won't go back to the bank. And really, this is part like self-discipline. But it's really not like a huge imposition or an inconvenience in my week. I am at the bank twice a week. I return, you guys see my weekly check-ins on Fridays, but I actually film them on Wednesdays, and then I return the money to the bank that very same day. So as soon as I finish filming here, I will take my tush right on over to the bank and deposit this cash. And then I return to the bank on Friday to do my cash pulling for the week. And then you guys see that video on Monday. So it's definitely something that requires a little bit of discipline. And we're usually, we are in touch with our budget a lot, and we work on our budgeting a lot. I mean, it's really not a lot, but we're working with it regularly is what I will say. But the payoff is actually really fantastic. And it's exciting to kind of see the progress that you're making as far as your own self-discipline is concerned. And then of course, if you're paying down debt like we are, being able to see that progress because of your self-discipline is also really wonderful. And then also just the weekly cash stuffing, being able to see your sinking funds building up because you're disciplined and because you're spending your money the way that you're supposed to be spending it is really, it's really fantastic. And it's encouraging to, you like every time you do a cash stuffing, you always have that boost to your spirits. It's like that dopamine hit of like, I am doing something that is benefiting me. And it's really wonderful. It's like, it's self-care, guys. Budgeting is self-care. Anyway, I will be done rambling to you. Don't forget, if you are a lady friend, to check the description box for that epilator, because oh my gosh, I just like, it's one of those things where I'm like, you know how if you discover a product or something like that you're so excited about that you love using all the time? It is my epilator, and the friends who I've told about them buy them, and then they're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I never did this before. So in my friend circles, I am known for my love of my epilator my love of the skincare that I use, and then actually my love of the perfume that I use. So anyways, if you nerd out about a product, like if there is a thing that you love that you tell all your friends about, please tell us in the comments below. I know that we are trying to tighten up our spending and be responsible and good budgeters, but sometimes being a good budgeter and a responsible spender means spending money on a quality product that you love, that you know you're going to use time and time again, so that you don't keep wasting money on something that you maybe wouldn't enjoy as much. So, my goodness, I'm very chatty and rambly today, but you know what? I spent time in the sun and that always lifts my spirits. So, I hope that you guys have a lovely weekend. Please, please come say hi in the comments. Give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed my video. And of course, if you haven't already subscribed, I would love it if you did. And then I will see you guys on the next one. Bye, everyone.